everybody, it's Kathy Champion and welcome back to my craft room at Random Acts of Crafting. I thought today we're going to do a card, and if any of you have seen the triple stamped cards, this is what we're going to do today. Now this one did not turn out too well, so I'm hoping that the next one is going to be much better. At least that's what I'm hoping for. So I'd stuck that butterfly on there as an afterthought, but this is going to be the type of card that we're going to make, and I did not finish this one because my stamping did not turn out as it should. So we are going to try this card over. I'm going to use a different stamp, very similar but just a different type of stamp. So the first thing I did is I went ahead and cut all the pieces because there is a lot of pieces to cut, and I'm going to give those measurements to you. The card base itself is going to be cut 8.5 by 5.5, and what you want to do is take a regular piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and hang on for me one second, I'm going to grab a piece like this, and what you're going to do is you're going to put this into your trimmer like so, and you're going to cut it in half at 4.25. So the piece is going to measure 8.5. It's 8.5 this way by 5.5 this way. So you're going to cut it into, I'm sorry, I said 4.25 and I meant 5.5. So you're going to put it into your scoreboard like so, and you are going to cut it in half at 5.5. So it's 8.5 by 5.5. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this piece. This will just give me 2 card bases to use for another time. So I'm going to lay those over there because we've already cut this piece. Now we're going to need a piece that is going to serve as our mat. And our mat piece, we're going to score this now at 4.25. So let's go ahead and get out our scoreboard. And I am going to leave that on there for right now. And I'm going to use my Teflon bone folder, and we are going to score this at 4.25. And I'm going to score this again because I am using the Brutus Monroe cardstock, and this is a stronger, heavier duty cardstock. So I am going to go ahead and just varnish that down to get us a nice A2 size card. Now I'm gonna actually leave this on the card for right now so that it will be fresh in everyone's mind as to the size of the card. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut this mat, and it's going to be 4.25 by 5.25. And what we're going to do with this piece is we are going to run it through our our embossing folder. And I just chose, you can use whatever design you have. And evidently Toby must know when I'm recording because he will end up showing himself. Toby, stop. It seems like he is aware of when I turn the camera on. But anyway, what we're going to do, this is a Spellbinders embossing folder, and the Spellbinders embossing folders are a little thicker than the Derice, and I have found what works with my Cuttlebug. If I put down my A-plate, my embossing mat, and this is the Cuttlebug embossing mat, and then I lay in my embossing folder with the cardstock in it, and then put a B plate over top of it, and I am going to push that in a little ways to make sure that it goes through all the way, and then I'm just going to feed this in like so. And this seems to give me a really good impression by doing it like so. So if you can see, that is beautiful. You can see the detail very well. So that's our mat that we're going to use, and that's all we're going to need to use our Cuttlebug for. So let's go ahead and move this out of our way. And now I am going to use this as my piece to layer my pieces of paper on. Now if you noticed, I cut white and black. And the reason for that is I want to mat each one of these white pieces onto a black piece, but not until we do our ink blending and our stamping. So the first piece is 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. The next piece is 2 1/2 by 3 1/2. And then the next piece is 4 1/2 by 2 inches. So what we're going to do with these is we want to stack them up, and I'm going to use my mat to get them as even as I possibly can. We can take these little pieces off now. I'm probably going to do this video in probably 2 parts, at least 2 parts, because this is going to be quite extensive. And I am going to line this up about 1/2 inch and about 1/2 inch down, like so. And what I'm going to do, just to give myself a guideline, is I am going to make a little square right there and right here. That just gives me a place to know that that's where I want to sit that. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to grab some Tombow glue, because this is a glue that will allow you, well, you know what, I even have a better one. I have this Zig, it's 2-way glue, and this one will allow you to put it down and pick it back up. So I have not used this in a while, so it's probably a little, actually it's better than I thought it would be. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run a little bit of that Zig glue right there, and then, and I got it on my fingers, so my fingers are going to want to stick to my cardstock. I'm going to line this back up right in those places where I made my marks, and I'm just going to press that down. I'm going to come back and I'm going to take those marks off as best I can. Clean them up really good so you don't have, that worked better by picking them up like that. Oops. And I'm throwing my cardstock all over the floor, and I still have this on my fingers, so I might have to grab a wet wipe and see if I can clean that off a little bit, because it is definitely wanting to stick. Alright, I'm going to go under here and put a little bit right there, because I do not want that to lift when I'm doing my ink blending, because we are going to ink blend these pieces, and that's another reason why you want to make sure you get them as straight as you possibly can. So I'm going to come back up to here, and I want to bring this one in to about there, maybe even there, and I am going to put a little bit of glue right there, and then I'm going to turn it, because I know I can move it now, because that's going to hold it. I'm going to put a little bit there and a little bit there, and I'm going to seal that down. This glue right here works great. It is a Zig, and it's a memory system. It will come back up when you lift it, and it does leave some residue on you. So like I said, I am going to see if I can put maybe a little hand sanitizer to get that sticky off of my hands, because I don't want to, I don't want everything I touch to stick to me. I'm going to take these pieces here that we're going to use after we do our blending out of our way just for a moment. I am going to lay the card base and my mat up out of my way, and let me get my wonderful little crafty tool that Donna made for me, and I'm going to turn it over because I don't want to mess up the front side, and I know that the Oxide inks will clean up good with alcohol, but I just want to make sure that I'm not putting down ink that I won't be able to get up later. So if that makes any sense, I am going to move some stuff around here. I am going to take out my Distress Oxide in Worn Lipstick. I'm also going to use this just a regular distressed ink in Abandoned Coral, and I think I'm going to use this Wilted Violet as my darker color. And I'm going to actually start out with this Abandoned Coral. No, actually I want to start out with my lighter color. Always when you're blending from the middle out, put your lighter color in first. That's a good rule of thumb. And I am going to grab a blending brush, and you can use these kind. These are actually makeup brushes, but they are so fine and dense. I think I might use this one. This is the one I was using earlier, and it did work really well. So we're just going to go in here and grab some ink, and I'm going to tap that ink off on the side on my little work area, and then I am going to just come in with a very light rounded motion like so. And you want it to look sort of like the hurricane that's brewing out in the Atlantic. You just want to go in a circle, leaving that center eye wall, if that's a good terminology to use. And I'm just going to go around, and you can see that's trying to move. Just hold your paper with your fingers and work that pink, this worn lipstick, around the center like so. And once you get that worked in really good and there's no more ink on my brush, I'm going to move to my darker color, and I'm going to put down a little bit of this Abandoned Coral. And this is one of the smaller ink pads, but they still work. Now this isn't an Oxide, but as you can see, it's still very pigmented. And we are going to come in from the outside edges, and I'm going to drag that coral color around that pink. And I'm going to pick up a little bit more of it, and I'm just going to blend it around that pink. And if you need to tap, you can re-tap. There's really no rule of thumb in ink blending except to blend it. So, and you can see my pieces are wiggling. That's okay. We are just going to blend that in all the way around. Oops. We don't want to do that. I'm going to get a little bit more. Oops. I am making a mess, y'all. Let's see if we can get a wet wipe real quick and get this up off of my work surface. And let's get a little bit more. And we are going to come in again from the outside edges. If you come in off of your work area like I'm doing, this will make it so much easier to do, because it will allow you to come in without too much color. Just like so. Okay, I'm going to wipe that brush off just a little bit. Try to get that pink off of it, because we are actually going to go back in now and we are going to grab that Wilted Violet. And what we're going to want to do with that Wilted Violet is just basically frame this piece. So I am, because I'm changing color, I'm going to clean off this mat, or my little work surface, like so. And I am going to work my brush off just to make sure I've got that excess color out of there. And I'm going to fan this off just a little bit. And now we're ready to put that back up there, and let's cover up this one. And just a second, I think my husband might have sent me a text message. He is out doing some shopping, and sometimes when he's shopping he will have a question for me, and sometimes I need to answer. So I'm sure any of you wives that have a loving husband that will go out and do your shopping for you, especially when you're in a cast, can relate. He forgot his grocery list today, so I had to text it to him. But anyway, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tap over here to the side, and now this one I want to come in from this bottom corner right here, and I just want to swirl that color up and around, just bringing it up and around. And if you notice, I'm going back into the color and then just swirling it around. It doesn't have to be perfect, because this is art, and art is very seldom perfect. It just has to be beautiful. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit more of that ink, and I'm going to swirl it in around those edges. Oh, my glue didn't hold. Never fear, we will just stick this right back down where it was at. And this time I'm going to hold this with my finger, and we are going to swirl this ink around and around and around, like so, getting these edges around here. This is where you want to really intensify that purple color, like so. And if you notice, we have that gradual coloring, so it doesn't look like it's any one color, but more like an ombre effect. And this is exactly what we are looking for. Now, I think that turned out really pretty. I am going to move this over. I'm just going to lay it there while I clean up a little bit of my mess. I am going to come back in with the same wipe, and I am going to wipe this off really well. And if you notice how well these clean up with just a wipe, this is the Oxide inks, and they are water soluble. So if you were using a pigment ink, it would not clean off like that, and that would be an alcohol-based ink that usually dries and stains a lot more than your water-based inks do. So, but if you are using the other inks, they work wonderful with your without any type of alcohol. So if you have hand sanitizer, you can easily come in and clean up any type of ink off of your hands or your surface. That's why I keep hand sanitizer on my work surface at all times. So just a little tidbit there as to how I work this. All right, so we've gotten this done. Now what we want to do is we want to do our stamping on this. So I had chosen these stamps right here, and I already loaded them in my MISTI. Now I'm not sure if that's where they need to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load this in. Let me move my magnet off to the side. And this is not sticking for some reason. We're going to go in with a little bit more of this zag or zig, and we are going to put a little bit more of it down right there. And this one goes to this side because it's where it's more purple. Okay, let's straighten that out just a hair. And I am going to move that to that farthest side right there and down to the bottom. And I am going to put my magnet, you know what, I don't even think I'm going to use the magnet. I think I'm going to just put it right there. And let's see where these stamps fall. Okay, I do need to move these up just a hair. So I'm going to start off with the tallest one, and we are going to bring that into here. And this one here. Like so. Now I do want to leave enough of space to have a sentiment here. So I am trying to pull these together a little bit more than what they normally would be. And I think we'll have room right there for a sentiment. And we are going to put this little piece right there. I think that's going to work out really good, and I think this is going to stamp really well. So Okay, I'm going to put my magnet bar right there because as you can see, the stamps are not right here. So I'm going to put that bar magnet right there to help make sure that I get that right in the right place where I want it without it moving. So now because of the ink that I used, actually, you know what? I'm going to use my VersaFine because VersaFine, since I'm using the oxides, I think I'll be fine with this. And let's see. I'm going to get this in here just a little bit tighter. Like so. That's good. Alright, and now we're going to ink this up really, really good. I love the VersaFine ink. The other one that I did it with a hard rubber stamp, and I used Memento, and I think that the combination of the two, and of course being a wooden stamp, I could not use my Misty, so I do need to move this out just a hair. Okay, there we go. And I think this is going to give us a really, really good, oops, you know why I'm sliding? Because I have it on that. The Misty has a really good little pad on the bottom that will cling to your surface really well, where you can really press on it and rub on it. It also has a cushion that allows you to press it into that paper and get a much better. That is beautiful. I love it. I am going to put a little bit more ink. Let's see. I think I might have that okay right there. That looks fairly good. Let's see this big one right here. I'm going to re-ink it just a little bit and press that down. Because where the paper overlaps, that's going to be the important place to make sure. And I'll bring this one back and show you. See right in here, that did not stamp very well. And the transition there was not good. I mean, the color, I love the color of this. I love the purple, but I am doing this with a pink this time. And I think I'm going to really love the way this is going to come together. So, oh yeah, that's much, much better. Much, much better. Okay, we're going to lift that out, and I am going to grab a wet wipe, and I'm going to clean these stamps really good in a few minutes. But for right now, I'm just going to leave them. I am going to rub a wipe over them because y'all know how I am about my stamps. Just a little bit obsessive when it comes to dirty stamps. So, but I am going to leave them in there, and some of that will transfer onto that piece of cardstock that I have in my Misty. So I am going to put my magnet back over here because I don't want to lose it. Now what we're going to do is we are going to take these apart. Now that could have stamped a little better, but I am going to show you how to fix that. And what I am going to do is I am going to take a Sharpie, and I am just going to fill that in like so. And I did not notice that stem, or I would have gone back over it when I was stamping, but that's okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pull these apart very carefully and see how nice that comes up. I cannot say enough about the Zig two-way glue. It is definitely something that you want to have in your craft stash. And this is still going to be sticky when we get ready to stick this back down. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take our black pieces and we're going to mat these on here. So I'm just going to put these down with some art glitter glue. So what I'm going to do is just taking the back, and you want to put a very fine line around the top and the sides to make sure that it glues very well around the edges, because that is going to be your crucial areas in putting this card together. I'm hoping this isn't going to run into too long of a video, and if it does, I may break this up into 2 parts, but if not, if I can get this done in about a 40 to 45 minute video, I'll do it all in one, and if not, then we will break it down into 2 separate videos. But there's one, and then here is our second one. And we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to put art glitter glue all the way around the edges. And then we're just going to sit it down, and we just want the wee little bit of the black poking out, just enough to give it a nice little border, and you want to wiggle that around a little bit so that you get it. Oh, and I did not get it. This happens, you know, this is all part of crafting in real life. Sometimes you don't get your glue or your piece down completely straight, and it's okay. You know, pull it up. Nobody will ever know that this happened unless you tell them, or unless you're like me and you're filming it, and everybody gets to see your boo-boos. But I leave these in for 2 reasons. I want you to see that nobody's perfect. We all make errors, and it's okay. It is okay to make an error. And look how pretty that's going to come together. Is that not gorgeous? Now we have one more piece that's going to go like that, and it's going to get glued on here like so. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to run some glue around the edges. And we're going to adhere this down like so. And again, I'm going to pick that up to make sure I'm getting it as nice and even as I possibly can. And then that's going to line up just like so. Now, is that not gorgeous? Now what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we are going to go right around this little area that we left. This is another reason that makes this so nice to have that little edging around there, this white area, because it gives you a place to show you where you need to put this together at. Just like so. And then we're going to do the same thing with this piece. So we're basically layering. We're just layering these pieces together. So these cards can look a little bit intimidating, but if you cut your pieces and lay everything out and then go to put everything together, you'll be surprised how easy and how beautiful these cards come together. Now look at that. Is that not gorgeous? And this is going to live. Now you see right there, there looks like a little white showing. That's not the paper, that's actually my glue. But art glitter glue is going to dry clear. So, and it's going to be all right. And then we are going to center this on here. But before we do that, I want to get out a sentiment that I want to use on here. And I think I want to use where is my little stamp? I had it earlier, and I left it out. And we are going to use the same one that we had on the other one, and it's going to be Thoughts for You, because I think that's just a really, really cute sentiment to put on a card like this. because if you're thinking for someone or you've been praying for them, this would be a beautiful little card to send to a friend, a family member. So we are going to line that up like so. And I think I am just going to grab a stamp block and I'm going to put this down directly. Oops, where is my stamp blocks? My desk, if you could, well, y'all can see some of it, but if you could see on the sides, oh my goodness, what a mess I have. And I'm sure that we all craft like this. Things off to the side of our desk can be in total disarray. But I am going to pick that stamp up like so, and I am going to grab my VersaFine if I can find it. And I know I just had it. It's over here under the stamp set. So we are going to ink the stamp up really good. And I am going to try not to put my arm in that ink. And I'm going to put Thoughts for You right here. And I'm just going to hold that there for a moment and let that ink transfer. And that looks really, really good. I did wiggle it just a little bit right there, but I think it will be okay anyway. What I would do if I had thought about this ahead of time, I would have stamped that prior to gluing these together. I think that wiggle was off of the edge of this, so that's just a rule of thumb. I think if I was doing that again. Now I do need to trim this, but this doesn't trim well in my trimmer, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Tim Holtz shears. If you notice, I did write on the back of this, but it's not going to show once it's on the card. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try my best to take off about 1/8 of an inch. And it looks like that's about as crooked as it can be. So let me try something, and if that doesn't work, we will just cut another piece of pink, and I'll trim it down before I actually put it on there. I'm going to try cutting it on this side. If you cut it on the raised side, it will rip your paper. So let's try it from this side and see if we can, and that does work. So rule of thumb again. I'm giving y'all lots of thumbs to work with today. Now I'm going to also take it off right here, just a hair. I did make this piece a little bit longer than I had wanted it to be, and a little bit wider, because when you run this through the Cuttlebug and it embosses, it kind of pulls the paper in just a hair. So I wanted this to have that little bit of black border around the edges of it as well, so that when you put this down on here, it is going to look like so. Now I love that. I think that subtleness of the pink and the purple along with the black and the card, I think that looks gorgeous. So I think we might be able to finish this in one setting. And I also want to thank Donna Satterley for these wonderful little sticky notes that she sent me. I told her when I got these that these little notes would be perfect for me to put down on cards, and these were so helpful in doing this card, because I was able to stick down these little sticky notes, and they came in a pack like this. So these are wonderful little sticky notes if you are needing to write down your dimensions and put it on your paper as you go. I think that's especially true with anyone that's doing a YouTube video. So thank you so much, Donna. Another shout out to my friend Donna. Thank you so much. I can get my pen back in my glue. That's what I was concentrating so much. But again, like I said, these pull off into these little teeny notes. A pack of these will last a long time. So thank you again, Donna. I'm going to go ahead and stick this down onto my card base. And I think for this, I'm almost out of my ATG. I've got to get some more. So I'm hoping I'm going to have enough. to stick this down with. Oops, I ran off the edge, but you know what? That's okay. Anytime you do that, just fold it back onto itself and it will work. And I think I am just about out of that roll. Yep. Not too much more. I have definitely got to get on the online and order me some more of that, because like I told y'all in the last videos, I have really embraced that. Okay, so now I am going to see if I can set this down about here. And I hope y'all are seeing how easy it was to put this card together. You could pop this up if you wanted this to be a little bit more dimensional. Wondering how that would look if it was popped up on some tape. I'm not, because I've got layers here anyway. So I am just going to use some art glitter glue, and I am going to put this down directly to my card. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow the outline of my pieces of cardstock. Let me get over here so y'all can see exactly what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run this around like so, and across here like that, maybe up that edge, and again right here. And then we are going to just run a little bit like that, and this piece should be ready to go right onto our card. And I want to center it up about like so. And now we're just going to press that down, and I might even take my Misty and sit on top of it just to make sure that it gets a good little adhesion. I definitely want that glue to stick, and because you do have some different edges there, we want to do whatever we need to do to help that to adhere. Now for the inside, I am going to take, and I have this piece left over from my other card, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this down to 4 by 5 1/4. So there is 4. By 5 1/4. I think I am going to stamp in this corner this little piece right here, just to give it a little bit of added character. I am going to put this on a block, and I think I want it to live about like that, but you know what? I want that little piece that was falling off to still look like it is falling off. So we are going to pick that up like so, and I'm going to get my VersaFine Onyx black out again, and we're just going to ink this up. I hope y'all love this VersaFine ink as much as I do. It is the best stamping ink out there. So I'm just going to set this down kind of at a corner, kind of angled, and I'm just going to press that. My phone is buzzing again. I do apologize. As long as it's not my husband, I'm okay. And I don't see any text messages from him, so we're good. And there we go. Now I think this card, with any sentiment that you would want to put on it inside, thoughts for you, I think a beautiful little, you've been in my thoughts and my prayers. Let's see if we can find a sentiment of something like that. And let's see, thought. Let's see if I can find something here to that degree of thinking of you, or something like that would be wonderful. Just wanted you to know. Your kindness doesn't go. You mean so much to me. Let's see. Thoughts for you. Your kindness doesn't go unnoticed. You are greatly appreciated. You mean so much to me. You are greatly appreciated. I think this is the one I want to use, because I think everybody needs to know that they are appreciated. In this world that we live in, I think so many people go feeling like they are not needed or wanted, and it's so sad, because we all have something to offer another individual. And in my life, I know the people that have come and gone in my life mean the world to me. And that's the reason you hear me say so many times on my channel, be a blessing to someone. Tell someone you're thinking about them, that you care for them, because you just don't know what that person could be going through or are going through. So it is so important. I know for myself, there's been many times that I felt lonely, and I have felt that I didn't matter. And that's not a good place to be for any of us. So, you know, if you have someone in your life that may be feeling down, may not be feeling like they're worthy, just may be feeling depressed. We all go through it. We've all been there. Give them some encouragement. Send them a card. You know, we're card makers. Send a card and just say, I love you. I'm thinking about you. I'm praying for you. I need you in my life. It can just go so far. So I hope that this card will not only challenge you to make a card for someone, but to be that encouragement for someone. You are greatly appreciated. So, you know, do this for someone. I'm going to re-ink that, because this was a new stamp. And I want that to be very bold in this card. And let's try that one more time. There we go. That looks beautiful. Now this sentiment inside this card, how beautiful is that going to be? I mean, I think this would be a lovely card to send to anyone. But if you know someone that's going through something, take the time to make them a card to be an encouragement, and just let them know that you care enough to say, hey, I am thinking of you, and no matter what you're going through, I love you, and I'm here for you. Sometimes that's all the encouragement someone needs to carry on another day. And, you know, that's one thing. We don't know what someone else is going through. We all have struggles in our lives. We all do. And we all deal with different things at different levels in our life. So be that blessing, and be an encouragement. And I am going to try my best to push some of this clutter out of the way so that we can look at this beautiful card that we just finished making. And yes, I say we, because without y'all, I could not do this. And I thank you so much for always being here for me, always being an encouragement, always just helping me, inspiring me. And you can see I am pushing left and right, trying to get stuff out of my way so that I can center this little card right here for you to look at. And I am going to zoom in just a little bit. And there we go. Is that not a beautiful card? I think it turned out lovely. I absolutely love the way this turned out. And I do want to tell you the names of the stamp set. The one with these little dandelions is called Sorry. And this is a Maymay Made It stamp set. And these are the other two pieces that go in there. And then this one is Wanted You to Know. And this is the one that's just wanted you to know. You are greatly appreciated. Thoughts for you. You are greatly appreciated. We could go back and put this one. Just wanted you to know. And any of these other ones with I just wanted you to know would be perfect. So this is just a great little card to give to anyone. I hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you will give me a thumbs up, that you will like and share, and that you will join in for my next video. And thank you so much for joining me today for this tutorial. This is a card that I have been wanting to make for some time, but I didn't have the courage to do it. And I want to thank you all for giving me the courage to try this and to be able to bring it to you. It's not hard. Pull out your paper, your inks, your stamps, and give it a try. You will not be disappointed. I'll put all of the measurements and the dimensions and everything in the description below. So all you got to do is do a copy and paste and or sit down and write it out, and you will have this to put in your list of cards. Thank you again so much, and until we craft again, blessings to all of you. God bless, God keep you, and may His arms of mercy and love wrap around you every day. Bye-bye.